Sometimes, as a urological surgeon, you see things that really make you stop and think. You see patients of all ages facing all sorts of challenges, but every now and then, someone comes along who defies expectations. They have a kind of vitality, a strength, and frankly, a level of function that you just don't typically associate with advanced age. It can be disheartening for so many men as they get older. Maybe you've felt it yourself, that creeping sense that things aren't quite what they used to be. The spontaneity fades, confidence takes a hit, and intimacy can become a source of worry instead of joy. It's a painful reality for many, a silent struggle that can impact everything from your mood to your relationships. You might feel like it's just an inevitable part of getting older, something you just have to accept. But what if I told you that wasn't necessarily the whole story? What if a simple, consistent daily ritual could make a profound difference? I had a patient, a remarkable gentleman, 90 years young, who came to me not with a problem, but almost like he was checking in. And in our conversation, he shared his secret, his daily routine that he credited with maintaining a level of virility that most men half his age would envy. It wasn't a magic pill. It wasn't some expensive therapy. It was something incredibly fundamental, built into his everyday life. In this video, we're going to delve into the core elements of his ritual. We'll look at the surprising simplicity and the powerful consistency behind his approach, exploring practical steps that you can incorporate into your own life, regardless of your age right now. There's a lot of noise out there, a lot of complicated advice, but his wisdom was rooted in the basics, executed with discipline. Get ready to hear about the things he did every single day, the small habits that added up to remarkable results. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. So, let's dive right into the very first element of this gentleman's daily ritual, the one he spoke about with a sort of quiet reverence. It was his morning movement practice. Now you might be thinking, movement. Of course, exercise is important. And you'd be right, but his approach wasn't about hitting the gym hard or running marathons. He lived in a lovely little cottage with a garden, and his ritual started the moment he got out of bed. He wouldn't just shuffle to the kitchen, he would intentionally move his body. This wasn't about breaking a sweat initially, it was about waking up his circulatory system gently but consistently. He'd start with simple stretches right there in his bedroom, nothing complex, just reaching for the ceiling, gentle torso twists, maybe touching his toes if he felt up to it that day. He'd hold each stretch for a few breaths, focusing on how his body felt. He wasn't forcing anything, just encouraging movement. He explained that he saw it like tuning an instrument. You wouldn't just pick it up and start playing a symphony. You'd check the strings, make sure everything was aligned. His body was his instrument, and the morning stretches were the tuning. After these initial stretches, his next step was a brisk walk. Now, brisk is a relative term, especially at 90. But for him, it meant walking at a pace that elevated his heart rate slightly, enough to feel like he was working, but not so much that he was out of breath or strained. He walked for a consistent 30 minutes, rain or shine. If the weather was bad, he'd walk laps inside his small house or march in place while listening to the radio. The key wasn't the location or the intensity, it was the daily commitment. He understood intuitively what we know scientifically today. Consistent cardiovascular activity is absolutely critical for circulation. And good circulation, as we all know, is the cornerstone of erectile function. Erections are, at their heart, a vascular event. Blood flow needs to be robust and unimpeded. By starting his day with this gentle stretching followed by a brisk walk, he was essentially giving his circulatory system a wake-up call and a daily workout. He wasn't just moving, he was intentionally pumping blood throughout his body, including to the areas that are vital for sexual health. He would tell me, "Doctor, it's like clearing the pipes. If you let them sit and get gunked up, nothing flows properly. A little bit of movement every morning keeps everything running smoothly." And he was absolutely right. Think about it. Sedentary lifestyles are a major contributor to poor circulation, high blood pressure, and hardened arteries, all of which directly impair erectile function. His simple daily walk was a powerful antidote to this. It wasn't about pushing his limits. It was about consistency. Every single morning, without fail. He even had a small worn journal where he'd jot down the date and a brief note about his walk, just as a quiet acknowledgement of his commitment to himself. This level of dedication to such a basic habit was eye-opening. It wasn't exciting, it wasn't trendy, but it was effective because it was non-negotiable in his routine. He also incorporated simple bodyweight movements into his morning ritual, often while he was out in the garden after his walk. Things like standing heel raises, gentle squats holding onto something for support, and arm circles. Again, these were not strenuous exercises. They were about maintaining strength and mobility, which further supports overall circulatory health and energy levels. He wasn't trying to build huge muscles, just keep the ones he had functional and support his joints. He'd bend to tend to his plants, lift small watering cans, and just generally stay active while he was outdoors. This integrated approach meant his exercise wasn't a separate, dreaded task. It was woven into his daily life, his chores, his hobbies. This is a crucial point, I think. For many of us, exercise feels like a chore we have to fit in. For Mr. Smith, it was just how he lived his morning. He emphasized that the walk, especially, was also his time to clear his head, to just be present. Stress is another huge factor in erectile dysfunction. When you're stressed, your body diverts resources away from non-essential functions. And let's be honest, from a pure survival standpoint, an erection isn't essential in a moment of perceived threat. Chronic stress keeps your body in this state of alert, constantly suppressing blood flow to certain areas. His morning walk was his meditation, his stress release. He'd breathe deeply, observe the garden waking up, listen to the birds. It was a time of quiet focus and calm. This aspect is often overlooked when we talk about physical health, but mental and emotional well-being are inextricably linked to physical function, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as erectile health. So, the first pillar of his ritual was consistent, gentle, daily movement focused on circulation and overall body function, integrated seamlessly into his morning. It wasn't about intensity. It was about regularity and making it a non-negotiable part of his day. He wasn't chasing performance. He was maintaining vitality through simple, consistent effort. He showed me that you don't need fancy equipment or a gym membership. You just need the commitment to move your body every single day in a way that feels good and gets the blood flowing. This foundational habit set the stage for the rest of his routine. He believed that by ensuring good circulation first thing, he was preparing his body for everything else the day held, including maintaining that youthful function. And honestly, looking at him at 90, with that sparkle in his eye and that calm, confident demeanor, it was hard to argue with his results. He started every day by honoring his body's need for movement, and it clearly paid dividends. Now that we've explored the crucial role of daily movement in his morning, let's delve into the next equally important piece of his puzzle: Moving on from getting his body moving, the next critical component of Mr. Smith's daily ritual was his dietary approach, specifically what he consumed, and perhaps just as importantly, how he consumed it. He didn't follow a strict, trendy diet, but his eating habits aligned remarkably well with what modern science tells us supports cardiovascular health and nitric oxide production, both vital for erections. He focused on real, unprocessed foods, and he ate with intention. His breakfast, after his walk, was usually a bowl of oatmeal with berries, nuts, and seeds. He understood, long before it was widely popular knowledge, the importance of fiber and healthy fats. The oats provided sustained energy and fiber, helping regulate blood sugar, another factor that impacts nerve and blood vessel health over time. The berries were packed with antioxidants, which help protect blood vessels from damage. The nuts and seeds provided essential fatty acids and other micronutrients. It was a simple, nutrient-dense start to his day. He rarely skipped breakfast, seeing it as fuel for the morning ahead, setting his metabolism on the right track. He wasn't just grabbing something quick. He'd sit down, sometimes read the newspaper, or just look out at his garden, and eat his oatmeal mindfully. This mindful eating aspect was another recurring theme in his overall approach to life. He didn't rush. He savored his food, chewed properly, and paid attention to his body's hunger and fullness cues. This might seem unrelated to erectile function, but chronic digestive issues and poor nutrient absorption can absolutely impact overall health and energy levels, which in turn affects sexual health. By eating slowly and mindfully, he was supporting his digestion and ensuring his body could effectively absorb the nutrients he was consuming. Throughout the day, his meals followed a similar pattern: emphasis on vegetables, fruits, lean protein sources, and healthy fats. He loved his greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, and he'd incorporate them into his lunch and dinner. These cruciferous and leafy greens are fantastic sources of nitrates, which the body can convert into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It helps relax and widen blood vessels, improving blood flow. This is precisely why things like beetroot juice are sometimes marketed for erectile dysfunction. They are rich in nitrates. Mr. Smith wasn't drinking beetroot juice specifically, but his daily intake of nitrate-rich vegetables was providing a constant supply. He'd have a big salad for lunch packed with various greens and colorful vegetables, maybe with some grilled fish or chicken. Dinner was often a piece of fish or a small portion of lean meat with a generous serving of steamed or roasted vegetables. He also ate legumes and beans regularly, another excellent source of fiber and plant-based protein. He wasn't afraid of healthy fats either. He used olive oil for cooking and dressings, ate avocados when they were in season, and included nuts and seeds in his diet consistently. These healthy fats are crucial for hormone production, including testosterone, which plays a role in libido and sexual function, though healthy circulation is often the primary factor for erections themselves, especially as men age. He avoided processed foods, excessive sugar, and unhealthy trans fats most of the time. He wasn't ascetic. He'd have a small treat occasionally, but his baseline diet was remarkably clean and focused on whole foods. One specific thing he did, which is particularly relevant, was incorporating foods known for supporting nitric oxide production. Besides the leafy greens, he regularly ate foods like garlic and onions, which contain compounds that can support the enzyme that produces nitric oxide. He also ate watermelon sometimes, which contains citrulline, an amino acid that the body converts into arginine, another precursor to nitric oxide. He wasn't doing this because he'd read specific studies on nitric oxide and ED. He was doing it because these were traditional, healthy foods he enjoyed and felt good eating. His intuitive eating habits aligned perfectly with modern nutritional science for cardiovascular and erectile health. Hydration was another quiet cornerstone of his ritual. He drank water consistently throughout the day. He wasn't guzzling gallons, but he'd always have a glass or bottle nearby and sip from it regularly. Dehydration can impact blood volume and circulation, so staying adequately hydrated is a simple but important factor for overall health, including blood flow to the penis. He'd often add a slice of lemon or cucumber to his water, making it a bit more appealing and providing a tiny extra boost of antioxidants. What struck me about his diet wasn't any single superfood or restrictive rule, but its holistic nature and consistency. It was a diet built on variety, whole foods, and supporting his body's natural processes. He wasn't calorie counting or obsessing over macros. He was simply eating nourishing food, prepared simply, and eaten mindfully. This daily commitment to fueling his body properly was the second major pillar of his astonishing vitality and function at 90. It wasn't about temporary fixes or miracle foods. It was about a sustainable, enjoyable way of eating that provided the building blocks for optimal health, including robust circulation. It was a powerful reminder that what you put into your body matters immensely, not just for energy or weight, but for very specific functions like maintaining strong erections well into old age. And this mindful, nourishing approach to food was deeply ingrained in his daily life, just as much as his morning movement. Next, we'll explore another aspect of his ritual that many men overlook. Beyond movement and nutrition, the third crucial element of Mr. Smith's daily ritual, and one he spoke about with quiet insistence, was the profound importance of rest and recovery, particularly sleep. We live in a world that often glorifies being busy, pushing through fatigue, and sacrificing sleep for work or other activities. But Mr. Smith understood that the body repairs and regenerates during sleep, and that adequate rest is non-negotiable for overall health and function, including hormonal balance and vascular health. He had a consistent sleep schedule. He aimed to be in bed by 10 p.m. and wake up around 6 a.m., getting a solid 8 hours most nights. He didn't view sleep as a luxury. He viewed it as a fundamental biological requirement, like eating or breathing. He had a simple, calming bedtime routine. About an hour before bed, he'd start winding down. This meant turning off screens. No TV, no reading on a tablet, no looking at his phone. He'd read a physical book or listened to quiet music. Sometimes he'd do some gentle stretching or deep breathing exercises. He made sure his bedroom was dark, quiet, and cool, the ideal conditions for sleep. He understood that exposure to light, especially the blue light from screens, can interfere with melatonin production, the hormone that regulates sleep. By creating a peaceful environment and a consistent wind-down routine, he signaled to his body that it was time to rest. He also avoided heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol close to bedtime. While a nightcap might seem relaxing, alcohol actually disrupts sleep architecture, leading to fragmented and less restorative sleep. Caffeine, of course, is a stimulant and can keep you awake. Eating a large meal right before bed can cause digestive discomfort and interfere with sleep quality. He'd have a light snack if he was genuinely hungry, but generally, he finished eating a few hours before going to bed. These were simple habits, yes, but implemented consistently. They created the conditions for deep, restorative sleep night after night. Why is sleep so important for erectile function? Several reasons. Firstly, testosterone production happens largely during sleep, particularly REM sleep. While low testosterone isn't always the primary cause of ED, maintaining healthy levels is important for libido and overall sexual health. Chronic sleep deprivation can significantly lower testosterone. Secondly, sleep is crucial for vascular health. Poor sleep is associated with increased risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. All conditions that negatively impact circulation and increase the risk of ED. During deep sleep, your body regulates blood pressure and repairs blood vessels. Depriving your body of this vital repair time takes a toll over the long term. Furthermore, sleep deprivation increases stress hormones like cortisol, which, as we discussed, can negatively impact erectile function. It also affects mood, energy levels, and cognitive function. When you're tired, stressed, and foggy-headed, the last thing on your mind is often sex. By prioritizing sleep, Mr. Smith was not only supporting his physical health, but also his mental and emotional well-being, creating a positive feedback loop. More energy, better mood, less stress, all contribute to feeling more connected to your partner and more interested in intimacy. He didn't just focus on the quantity of sleep, but also the quality. If he woke up in the night, he wouldn't lie there stressing about not sleeping. He'd get up for a few minutes, maybe read quietly in another room with a dim light, and then go back to bed when he felt tired again. He didn't force sleep. He created the conditions for it and trusted his body's natural rhythm. This acceptance, this lack of anxiety around sleep is often key to overcoming insomnia. Many people who struggle with sleep develop anxiety about not sleeping, which only makes the problem worse. Mr. Smith had a calm, matter-of-fact approach. His consistent 8 hours of quality sleep each night provided his body with the essential time it needed for repair, hormone regulation, stress reduction, and overall rejuvenation. It was a silent, invisible, but incredibly powerful part of his daily ritual. It wasn't something he did occasionally when he felt tired. It was a cornerstone of his life, just as important as his movement and his diet. He recognized that true health isn't just about what you do when you're awake and active. It's also about how you allow your body to rest and recover. This daily commitment to prioritizing sufficient, high-quality sleep was, in my professional opinion, a major contributor to his sustained vitality and sexual function well into his 10th decade. It's a simple habit, often overlooked, but one that has profound downstream effects on every aspect of your health. Now that we've covered the pillars of movement, nutrition, and rest, there's one more element to his ritual, a surprising one that ties it all together. So, we've talked about Mr. Smith's commitment to daily movement, his focus on whole, nutritious foods eaten mindfully, and his unwavering dedication to getting enough high-quality sleep. These 3 pillars alone would place him well ahead of many men half his age in terms of overall health. But there was one more element to his daily ritual, something less tangible than exercise or diet, but equally vital in his eyes, and one that I believe is the real key to his enduring vitality and that surprising level of function at 90. This was the element that, honestly, surprised me the most when he described it. Not because it was complicated, but because of its profound simplicity and its consistent application. It was his daily practice of gratitude and connection. Every single morning, after his walk and his healthy breakfast, Mr. Smith would spend time specifically focusing on what he was grateful for. He didn't just think about it. He often wrote it down in that same worn journal where he tracked his walks. It could be something as simple as the warmth of the sun on his face, the taste of his coffee, a phone call with one of his grandchildren, or the beauty of a flower in his garden. He intentionally cultivated a mindset of appreciation. He believed that focusing on the good things, no matter how small, shifted his perspective and lowered his stress levels. We know that chronic stress is a major detriment to health, including sexual health. By actively practicing gratitude, he was countering the body's natural tendency to focus on problems and worries. This daily mental reset, this conscious choice to look for the positives, had a calming effect on his nervous system, reducing cortisol and promoting a more relaxed state. But it wasn't just internal gratitude, it was also about connection. Mr. Smith made a point of connecting with someone every single day. This didn't mean he had a huge social calendar. Sometimes it was a phone call to a family member or friend. Sometimes it was a brief chat with a neighbor over the fence. Sometimes it was just smiling and exchanging a few words with the person at the local shop. He made an effort to interact positively with others. Social connection is incredibly important for mental and emotional well-being, and loneliness and isolation are increasingly recognized as significant health risks, impacting everything from cardiovascular health to cognitive function, and yes, even sexual health. Feeling connected, loved, and supported reduces stress and boosts mood, creating a positive environment within the body. He also actively engaged his mind and pursued his passions. He loved reading, gardening, and listening to music. He continued to learn new things, whether it was about a plant species or a historical event. He kept his mind active and engaged. This mental stimulation and sense of purpose are vital for overall well-being as we age. When you have interests and feel engaged with the world, you have more energy, more zest for life, and frankly, more desire for connection and intimacy. He wasn't just passing the time, he was actively living and exploring. This combination of daily gratitude and intentional connection was the subtle yet powerful fourth pillar of his ritual. It addressed the emotional and psychological aspects of health that are so often overlooked in the pursuit of physical vitality. He understood that a healthy body is supported by a healthy mind and a connected spirit. His calm demeanor, his positive outlook, and his genuine warmth towards others were palpable, and I have no doubt that this internal state profoundly contributed to his external vitality. It wasn't about having a perfect life. It was about appreciating the life he had and actively seeking connection and joy in the everyday. This daily dose of positivity and connection, combined with his consistent habits of movement, nutrition, and sleep, created a powerful synergy that supported his health on every level. It's easy to focus on the physical mechanics, the blood flow, the hormones, but Mr. Smith reminded me that true, lasting vitality, including sexual vitality, is deeply rooted in our mental and emotional landscape as well. So, what can we take away from Mr. Smith's remarkable example? It's not about finding one magic bullet. It's about the power of consistent, simple habits applied daily. It's about moving your body gently but regularly to keep the blood flowing. It's about nourishing yourself with real, whole foods that support your circulation and overall health. It's about honoring your body's need for rest and prioritizing quality sleep. And crucially, it's about cultivating a positive mindset through gratitude and nurturing your connections with others. These aren't revolutionary secrets. They are foundational principles of health that we often forget or deem too simple to be effective. But Mr. Smith, at 90, was living proof that consistently applying these basics can lead to extraordinary results. Remember, small changes can make a big difference to your health and happiness. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with one small habit, perhaps a 15-minute walk, adding more vegetables to one meal, aiming for an extra hour of sleep tonight, or simply taking a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for right now. Build on these small successes. Be patient and persistent with yourself. His story is an incredible inspiration, showing us what's truly possible when we take consistent, loving care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. It's a powerful reminder that age doesn't have to mean an inevitable decline in function and vitality. You have more agency than you might think. Take a moment to reflect on which of these areas you could focus on first. What small step could you take today to move closer to the kind of vitality Mr. Smith enjoys? I hope hearing about his ritual has been helpful and encouraging for you. What did you think of his approach? Was there anything that surprised you? I'd love to hear your thoughts and any experiences you have in the comments below. Sharing helps all of us learn and grow. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like. It really helps the channel reach more people who might benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos dedicated to helping you live your best life at every age. Thank you for watching. Keep focusing on those small, consistent steps. They truly add up. Live your best life at every age.